In the heart of South Asia, a long-standing rivalry between two nuclear giants, India and Pakistan, could be on the brink of igniting into an all-out war. With the attack on Pahalgam, Kashmir, tensions have reached new heights. How did we get here? And what's at stake? Let's take a closer look. In this video, we'll break down the recent escalation, the reasons behind the conflict, the reactions from both nations, and what the world is doing about it. Stay with us as we dive into the complex and dangerous situation unfolding between India and Pakistan. The history of conflict between India and Pakistan goes back to the partition of British India in 1947, when two separate nations were created along religious lines. Since that day, the two nations have fought multiple wars, primarily over the disputed region of Kashmir. Despite numerous peace talks and agreements, the tension never fully dissipated. The nuclearization of both nations in the 1990s made the stakes even higher, as both India and Pakistan now possess nuclear weapons. This dangerous combination of historical animosity and nuclear capabilities makes every conflict a global concern. At the core of the conflict is Kashmir, an area both countries claim in full but only control parts of. India administers Jammu and Kashmir, while Pakistan controls Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. The territorial dispute over this region has resulted in 3 major wars between the two nations and numerous skirmishes over the years. But beyond the territorial dispute, the root causes are deep-seated. Pakistan accuses India of human rights violations in Kashmir, while India blames Pakistan for supporting terrorism in the region. Terrorist attacks in Indian-administered Kashmir, often linked to Pakistan-based militants, have exacerbated the situation. Another major flashpoint is the water dispute. The Indus Waters Treaty, signed in 1960, allocates water from the Indus River to both countries. However, with India's recent suspension of this treaty, tensions are escalating. Pakistan views this as an unfair move, especially as both countries rely heavily on these water resources for agriculture and livelihoods. In the wake of the Pahalgam attack, India responded with force. Diplomatic ties were severed, Pakistani diplomats were expelled, and the country's military began to mobilize along the border. India also suspended the Indus Waters Treaty, cutting off vital water resources to Pakistan. India's government has called for strong action against Pakistan, citing the country's role in harboring militant groups. The Indian military has been placed on high alert, and skirmishes along the Line of Control, LOC, the de facto border in Kashmir, have intensified. Pakistan, for its part, has vehemently denied its involvement in the Pahalgam attack. The Pakistani government and military have warned India that any aggressive action would lead to retaliation. Pakistan's defense minister has even claimed that India is preparing for a military incursion within the next 36 hours. The military rhetoric from both sides is worrying, with Pakistan warning of dire consequences if India takes further action. While both nations are armed with nuclear weapons, the question remains: will either side resort to full-scale war? As tensions boil over, the international community has weighed in. The United States, a long-standing ally of India, has expressed support for India's right to defend itself. U.S. President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance have condemned the terrorist attack and reaffirmed their commitment to counter-terrorism efforts in the region. However, other global powers, notably China, have called for both countries to show restraint and avoid further escalation. China, which shares a border with both India and Pakistan, has a vested interest in regional stability. It has urged both nations to resume peace talks to avoid a disastrous war. The United Nations has also expressed concern over the rising tensions. There is a growing fear that a conflict between India and Pakistan could quickly spiral out of control, not only destabilizing the region, but potentially affecting global security. So what can be done to prevent another war? history has shown that dialogue and diplomacy remain the only real path to lasting peace. In the past, India and Pakistan have made efforts to de-escalate through the Lahore Declaration and the Shimla Agreement, but these talks have often broken down. The key to avoiding a full-scale war lies in diplomacy, but both countries must be willing to make compromises. This includes addressing the Kashmir dispute in a manner that respects the wishes of its people and addressing concerns about terrorism and cross-border infiltration. The international community can play a crucial role by facilitating dialogue, ensuring that both sides adhere to international laws, and pushing for a peaceful resolution to the Kashmir issue. The UN and other global powers must continue to pressure both India and Pakistan to prioritize peace over war. Ultimately, the future of millions of people in South Asia depends on the wisdom of their leaders and the will for peace. The world is watching, and the time to act is now. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the escalating tensions between India and Pakistan.